So a new discovery in Antarctica. Researchers find new life under an ice shelf.
Scientists are also increasingly concerned about what's happening around Antarctica.
Antarctica, the Earth's most remote continent, covered in ice and secrets, has intrigued our explorers and researchers for years, with every find made. But recent discoveries have been jaw-dropping. In this recent expedition, secrets were said to have emerged from the frozen desert, suggesting a disturbing possibility. Are we alone? Could there be a form of life we have never seen or heard of behind Antarctica's ice? Join us as we reveal 27 horrifying photos that were smuggled straight out of the icy land of Antarctica. Number 27, Anita. In first place is Anita Discovery, which stands for the Antarctic Impulsive Transient Antenna, which was deployed by NASA as a high-tech balloon that flies above Antarctica. Its role is to spot neutrinos that are spontaneously flying in from space. Here's the twist. Anita, a few years ago, registered neutrinos emanating from within the Earth, not from space, as was planned. This puzzled the scientists. A hypothesis suggests that these particles may represent an alternate universe where the laws of physics get reversed. Although speculative, this is a thought-provoking idea. Scientists struggle to determine why the phenomenon happens, and the exact explanation has yet to be found. Number 26, Ross Island. Next is Ross Island, where the scientific McMurdo station is based, and supernatural whispers have been reported. The island was said to be haunted. A plane crash accident in 1979 resulted in the loss of 257 lives, and some speculate that the restless ghosts remain. Visitors tell about their eerie experiences, hearing inaudible footsteps in the cold emptiness, feeling someone whispering in their ears, and seeing spirits. These mournful stories are part of the heritage of the Antarctic explorers being passed on from generation to generation, which only deepens the mystery of this remote land. Number 25, the Chinstrap Penguin. Moving on to our list, the Chinstrap Penguin. These tiny yet brave birds belonging to the penguin family are the smallest of all the penguins, with a maximum height of 30 inches. By nature, almost being microscopic, they have to fight tooth and nail to live. Unlike the cute, happy feet, chinstraps are the slappy feets kind of penguins. The birds aren't gliding gracefully across the water like the flappers. They are all in a crump battle. The birds can travel up to 50 miles offshore to find their favorite food source, krill. Their layers of blubber function as a winter coat, keeping them warm enough during these long trips, as long as they steer clear of becoming a leopard seal's meal. Number 24, the Antarctic scale worms. Now for Antarctic scale worms. After a first look, they can be mistaken for microorganisms, like very small-scale bacteria, but don't be fooled. These worms are considered horrifying because they can grow up to 8 inches long. The scale worm is covered with bristly elytra, which is part of the worm's unusual look. However, the most disturbing element is their mouth organ. Strangely, this alien structure can completely retract into the worm's body, effectively doing an inside-out cartwheel. As soon as it's feeding time, the mouth opens up and rips its prey into pieces, totaling 7.8 inches in length and 4 inches in width. And that's huge for the worm. Even though its head-on sight might not win any beauty contests, the underside look reveals an additional feature: feathers made of appendages that help in locomotion. The back, nevertheless, is covered in strong scales, which serve as armor against predators. And the head? Just call it a retractable proboscis, a scientific name for a feeding tube. Surprisingly, the predator that was just identified prefers something else: meat. The pointed canines imply a meat-eating animal that proactively hunts rather than scavenges for leftovers. Number 23, the Antarctic glass sponges. Fascinating, these Antarctic glass sponges. They are titled transparent because of the glass made of silica, which is an important part of their structure. researchers solved the mystery of their enlargement in a landmark 2013 experiment. In contrast to their earlier classification as static organisms due to their limited diet sources, these glass sponges have now been found to grow. The receding of Antarctic ice shelves has led to an increase in the sightings of these marvelous creatures. A glass sponge is a filter feeder that slowly consumes small particles floating near it in a current. They were once believed to be small due to their limited access to food. Nevertheless, these silent sentinels give us unique insights by illustrating their growth rate. They may not say anything, but their presence tells a very meaningful story. Number 22. The Springtails. Too small to be recognized but greatly powerful, the Springtail rules Antarctica's largest land fauna, except the penguins. These pico-sized hexapods, which can be likened to small walking ice earwigs, are exclusive land animals. Despite their small size, no one can deny their big stomachs. Springtails are outstanding for their capacity to survive more than 1 or 2 years in Antarctica. Glycerol is the essential substance that protects them from the violent cold and acts like an antifreeze inside. Because of the lower temperatures, their metabolism slows down, so they consume fewer resources. Although not immortal, they are the champions of adaptation among the toughest habitats on the planet. Number 21. The Hof Crab. Unlike the immortal jellyfish or the transparent glass octopus, the Hof Crab has its name for a more whimsical reason. It resembles a certain hairy celebrity, David Hasselhoff. Setting eyes on a photo of this deep-sea strange creature on your social media feed will surely give these goosebumps. Though the Hof Crab seems simple on the outside, its inner workings are far more complex. Its specific name, Kiwa Tyler, pays tribute to its discoverer, Paul Tyler, from Southampton University. Their habitat is unique, the East Scotia Ridge near the Southern Ocean, where these crabs thrive at the edge of hydrothermal vents. The hair on the Hof Crab isn't real hair, but rather an extensive coating of bacteria. This fuzzy pelt is life-saving because it serves as a tiny farm that supplies the crab with the bacteria it needs for sustenance. In short, the bacteria feast near the Hof Crab's sea campfire. Hence, the crustaceans simply gather to pick off the microscopic resources like a salad. Number 20. The Colossal Squid. And here's the giant squid for you. Be aware that, unlike its fellow giant squid, the colossal squid is not just as big, but a bit smaller. As the name suggests, the colossal squid is a genuine giant, the mightiest creature in the icy waters surrounding Antarctica. These giants are about 46 feet long, but the females sometimes get even bigger. These creatures bear large tentacles with suckers that are decorated with razor-sharp hooks. This guarantees the victims are well entangled. In addition, their diet is just as great as their size, which includes large fish, like colossal squid portions, and not goldfish. Patagonian toothfish, larger than 6 feet, are also served here. Huge squids have no right to be afraid and are willing to challenge whales in deep-sea fights. Their markings represent the outcome of these fights and prove their toughness. Although spectacular, their secret remains behind the veil. Unfortunately, only 2 comprehensive specimens have ever been found, the last one in 2014. Some consider them the Kraken's closest modern-day kin. Number 19. Giant Sea Spider. In the freezing waters of the Antarctic, we travel to meet some of the weirdest creatures of all. To begin with, there is a giant sea spider, which I guess can be a real showstopper or will make your legs shake, metaphorically speaking. Contrary to the name, these are not tiny spiders. They are classified within a group of marine arthropods and have the crown of being the largest sea spider in the world, with a span of up to 10 inches. I mean, they even breathe through their digestive system, implying that they do not have regular lungs. Such slender predators move along the bottom of the sea, eating a mixture of sea worms, jellyfish, sponges, and soft corals. With a specialized feeding tube, they They quite literally suck out all the Ganges of their innocent victims. Horrifying to watch. Their legs have two functions: storing food and moving across the seabed. They are found in shallow waters near Antarctica, but the deepest sighting has been at 23,000 feet, suggesting exceptional pressure tolerance. Number 18. Hidden piece of land. Discovering a piece of land that was unseen. Far below the immensity of the Antarctic ice sheet is a concealed world. This massive landmass, measuring larger than Belgium, is a scientific wonder. Researchers have been able to get a glimpse into the ancient past by using radio echo sounding, a technology similar to sonar but with sound waves, which lets them see the icy depths to reveal a landscape of ancient rivers, valleys, and hills. Imagine a location that has been sculpted by time and has not been touched for millions of years. Scientists believe the spot hidden underneath the ice held a different climate and geology from the frozen desert of Antarctica we know today. The area, which spans about 32,000 square kilometers and 12,000 square miles, is now a fresh chapter in our understanding of the continent's history. Number 17. The Hidden Rainforest. The icy grasp of Antarctica conceals more mysteries than we thought possible. There are amazing fossils of a 90-million-year-old subtropical rainforest under the frozen desert. Researchers were impressed to find a huge quilt of well-preserved fossil roots within a core sample from the bottom of the ice sheet. Imagine tropical rainforests where glaciers are now prevalent. This core sample, which functions as an actual vertical slice of Earth's history, contains not only roots, but also an amazingly preserved topsoil. Pollen spores and plant fragments associated with flowering plants complemented the picture. The figure indicates that once there was such a place as West Antarctica, which existed as a swampy rainforest with abundant flora and fauna. Such a change means a drastic shift in the climate. Heavy rain and acutely increased carbon dioxide levels dramatically changed Antarctica's vision. Number 16. The zombie virus. Do you know about the zombie virus? To tell you the truth, this chilling discovery comes from Antarctica's coldness. Scientists resurrected an ancient virus that was captured in permafrost for a stunning 48,500 years. Besides fueling the concerns, this stunning accomplishment from the world of science fiction, hasn't we been repeatedly warned about? The zombie virus was brought to the surface by the melting of ice, which exposed secrets that had been buried long ago. Primarily in hibernation for millions of years, scientists also consider risks, just like an old friend reappearing. The rejuvenated virus only attacks unicellular amoebas and not humans or other animals. On the other hand, the technique itself causes concern. The researcher making this unveiled defends her actions by saying that it illuminates the danger that more dangerous viruses could wake up and threaten humanity. Besides, the danger from ancient pathogens is no exception because of the ongoing melting of the Antarctic permafrost. The melting ice could release a deadly brew of chemical and radioactive substances into our ecosystem. Number 15. The UFOs sightings. People talk more and more about UFOs sighted above Antarctic stillness. In 2018, an ex-Navy SEAL who worked at the South Pole anonymously told Linda Moulton Howe, an investigative journalist, a fascinating story. This woman, who said she was part of a classified research mission in August 2003, saw a big, dark structure protruding from the ice. He stated that these massive square panels led to a long, green-lit corridor decorated with strange symbols that puzzled him, as he had never seen them before. Although impossible to confirm, this account makes the mystery even more tempting as a hotspot for extraterrestrial activity. The continent's lonely and isolated position lends itself to clandestine activities, majorly fueling the fantasies of those who believe in alien abductions. Number 14. The 2018 UFOs video. The topic of UFOs in Antarctica further fuels people's curiosity. In 2018, a YouTube channel, Secure Team 10, managed to enthrall viewers with a video that displayed satellite images of a small island in Antarctica. The camera focuses on an indication of the island's snow-covered surface, which appears like a long skid mark. The narrator considers this to be a UFO crash, with an elongated cigar-shaped tail that is miles long being left behind. The trail leads you to a mountain with stuff blown out at its bottom. Nevertheless, there is another more probable reason. Scientists usually point to the effects of natural occurrences, such as avalanches. A sizable rock or slab sliding down the mountain could have made the long skid and moved the debris at the base. The brutal truth of the Antarctic environment may give us a simpler answer. Number 13, the Scott's Hut. After entering the domain of the unknown, we reach Scott's Hut. This historic structure in Cape Evans, Antarctica, was constructed in 1911, and by that time, it was the base for Captain Robert Falcon Scott's unsuccessful venture to the South Pole. The hut looks ominously as if frozen in time, like a time capsule from an antediluvian era. Discarded belongings, scientific equipment, and even penguins were frozen unbroken. There is a depressive atmosphere. This once lively square of activity is now vacant, a gloomy remnant of desperation in which Scott and his crew have lost their lives on their voyage. Well, it is not surprising at all that such ghost stories originated here. Upon entering, staff and visitors alike complain of a unique sense of ache and absence. The murmurs of the expedition, coated with deathly silence, echo throughout these walls. Ghostly voices, shadowy figures, and the feeling of someone watching you are what some people said had happened to them while they were inside. Whether these are reflections of the past or something else, that is a riddle that still needs solving. Number 12, the Axis Power Base, an alleged Axis power base from the late 1930s. In December 1938, a German expedition departed on the MS Schwabenland. Their official mission? To stake a claim on Antarctica's Queen Maud Land, the Germans would again use the name for their business. Sounds reasonable, right? They painstakingly photographed an extensive area, put flags on it, and even sent out ground expeditions. On the other hand, these flags have yet to be discovered. In August 1939, Germany announced Queen Maud Land, now judged New Schwabenland, in theirs. But World War II broke out, which was said to have halted the foundation of any provisions. Post-war, Germany's claim for this territory was dropped, and there was no credible material to back up any substantial German activities in Antarctica during that period. So what happened? The truth is probably not much of a surprise. The expedition could have been a land grab, a way to capture resources or position for the future. It may well be that Germany's technological superiority is the only explanation. Number 11, the secret military base. On to the speculations about the military involvement in Antarctica. We'll begin with World War II and the mysterious tale of a hidden Nazi base. The rumors about a secret Nazi base in Antarctica called Base 211 have been around for years. The SS's interest in the occult and their search for powerful relics provide the purported link. Nevertheless, there is not sufficient evidence to prove it. Antarctica's extreme conditions and seclusion foster a highly unlikely place for secret bases, especially bases that can support large military forces. The U.S. sent a large naval force in 1946 and 1947 under the code name Operation High Jump. Nevertheless, its aims were not malicious in any way. Legally, it was a massive scientific exploration that aimed to map the continent and evaluate its resources. The enormous scale of the undertaking doubtless prompted people to question its true motives. The Antarctic Treaty, signed in 1961, prohibits military activities on this continent. It would be better if it encouraged international cooperation in scientific research. Number 10. The Deception Island. Deception Island, shrouded by Antarctica's frozen embrace, has a past just as cold as its temperatures. An old whaling station's grisly past is preserved in the scattered whale bones, which remain poignant evidence of an atrocious era that callously killed these gigantic creatures. The grim economic situation forced the closure of the whaling station as the Great Depression squeezed oil prices. Deserted and mute, Deception Island didn't take long before it was used as a British base during World War II. Whalers Bay, the island's only landing site, is where people still tell horror stories that give us goosebumps today. Ghostly traces, weird lights, and disembodied whispers reverberating through the icy terrain are evocative of a land apparition haunted by its history. In 2009, a group of people filming a TV show caught unexplainable phenomena: loud bangs, a vague figure dancing around ruins, and an anomaly that can be seen as a thermal signature in a window. One more layer of mystery. Some suspect that Deception Island might be the lost city of Atlantis under the blanket of ice. Apart from traditional depictions of Atlantis in a sunny Mediterranean place, this theory proposes a more dramatic location, entirely buried under the ice in the south. Number 9. The Flight 571. Uruguayan Air Force Flight 571 occurred in the Andes Mountains on October 13, 1972. This carrying 45 people, a rugby team, their families and friends, caught in one of the remote mountains of Argentina. On the evening of the tragedy, 18 of 27 passengers were above nearly 11,500 feet, which is 3,500 meters. Their condition was the worst: no food, poor clothes, and no means to call for help. Hope became thinner and thinner the longer they stayed, along with their diminishing food supplies. Under the pressure of the horrific circumstances, the survivors took this terrible decision. They ate their dead mates' bodies just not to suffer. For longer than 2 months, they suffered through the rugged mountain, holding on to the hope of rescue. Finally, a turning point came. 2 extremely courageous folks set out on a deadly trip and only had help arrive on horseback after many days of wandering. Survivors being found started the rescue mission, and after 72 long days in the Andes, the remaining 14 were brought to safety. Number 8. The Blood Falls. Our journey brings us to Blood Falls, a place where iron flows. But please remember, this is not a horror scene. The water in Blood Falls has a naturally high iron content, but it is only red when mixed with air. A combination of unexpected ingredients solves the real mystery of the crimson color. But it's not just iron. It's a mixture of iron oxides, iron hydroxides, high salt content, and even elements like chlorine and magnesium. This unusual mixture of colors is the river's crown jewel, a spectacular flow of yellow, orange, and reddish tones in sharp contrast to the typical standard brown runoff we're used to. Creepy? Maybe a little. But it's also undeniably cool. Scientists have found bacteria from the ancient era that look nothing like anything ever seen on Earth. Weirdly, some doubt it somehow managed to hop onto an asteroid that crashed into the Earth millions of years ago. Here's why this is such a big deal. Most bacteria need 6 conditions to thrive: food, a particular pH, time for growth, warmth, oxygen, and moisture. These newly discovered bacteria, however, do not require air. Number 7. The Giant Hole. There was a giant hole in Antarctica. In 2017, scientists were surprised by a large opening in the sea ice, Apollonia. It was not just a usual crack in the ice, but a huge one that got even bigger. Imagine slicing a huge hole in the ice 8 times larger than the original one in just a couple of weeks. This occurred in the Weddell Sea, famous for its bone-chilling temperatures. Ice-filled areas known as polynyas aren't rare in this region. However, the speedy and unexpected increase in this one led to scientists' questions. Intensive ocean currents and temperature variations create ice gaps in a typical year. However, this giant surpassed what we thought was possible so quickly. Climate experts were like detectives with the biggest cold case in their hands. What caused this supergrowth? Was it climate change, a natural anomaly, or something else altogether? Scientists employed satellites, ocean sensors, and computer modeling to solve this icy mystery. The leading theory? Maybe it was the Great Cyclones in the Weddell Sea. Number 6. The Mount Arabus. Let's sail south to the base of a blazing giant, Mount Arabus, the world's southernmost active volcano. This magnificent peak holds a captivating secret, a steady, smoldering lava lake inside the crater. Contrary to common perceptions of the conventional fiery eruptions associated with volcanoes, Arabus holds a captivating lava lake. It is a boiling pool of molten rock that never cools and remains a thick, viscous liquid. Many people think lava lakes are common, but they are quite uncommon. A lava lake's formula involves establishing a particular set of circumstances. Many volcanoes store molten lava below the ground in a magma chamber communicating to the surface via a channel. When pressure accumulates, liquid rock is forced through the fissure, pushing it out through the crater. A lava lake, on the other hand, is located above the surface. It lies in the volcano's crater and connects to the magma chamber through a vertical channel known as the conduit. Think of it as a lava highway. Hot magma from the chamber continuously goes up into the lake, while the cold magma at the surface sinks back down into the chamber to reheat and rise again. Such a process does not stop and keeps the lake molten and salty, thus forming a fascinating show. The last eruption of this volcano happened in 2020. Although the lava lake is not directly linked to the eruption, it works as the volcano's window into its internal workings. Number 4. The Grand Endurance. Plunge with us to the bottom of the Antarctic Ocean, where a hitherto unsolved riddle has been discovered. The Endurance, Sir Ernest Shackleton's iconic vessel, has been found in extremely good condition. The mystery of what happened to the Endurance was unsolved for over 100 years. It was crushed by ice and sunk in 1915, making it one of the greatest maritime puzzles. However, all that changed in 2022. Thanks to cutting-edge technology, helicopters, underwater robots, and other state-of-the-art gadgets, the Endurance was discovered at a depth of nearly 3,000 meters. This is about 10,000 feet. Telescope shot and explored from a distance, the discovery exhibits human creativity and tenacity. The Endurance is in surprisingly good shape after being entombed under its icy grasp more than a century ago. Number 3. The Operation Tarin. In World War II, when Germany was not there, the UK had its intentions over Antarctica. It defended its rights to confront the interests of Germany's friends Argentina and Chile. In 1944, Operation Tarin started. Britain held possession of the claimed area, supposedly to catch German ships. Nevertheless, there was something else. They had hidden small bases to gather intelligence and conduct scientific research. After the war, this area of expertise was continued under the British Antarctic Survey. This top-secret mission to Antarctica during wartime would inevitably trigger rumors that the Cold War was heating up there, but that is most likely an overstatement. Number 2. The Mount Arabus disaster. On November 28, 1979, a sightseeing flight with 257 passengers and crew members encountered a disaster. Air New Zealand Flight 901 crashed into Mount Arabus, an active volcano in Antarctica. The cause? A tragic error. The aircraft's navigation system provided the wrong coordinates, giving the pilots the impression that they were over the open sea. Contrary to their belief, they were heading towards the hidden mountain. The poor visibility caused by snow and clouds made seeing Arabus at a distance impossible. This could not have been more devastating, instantly resulting in the death of everyone on board. In addition, on February 25, 2012, a fire broke out at the Brazilian Antarctic Scientific Station, Comandante Ferraz. The fire started in the machine room due to the air and combustible items that helped it spread. Sadly, 2 naval personnel did not make it out of the 69 crew members. The fire did a lot of damage, destroying laboratories, dorms, and expensive equipment. The cause is thought to be a short circuit that led to an explosion. Number 1. The disappearance of Carl R. Dish. In The Disappearance of Carl R. Dish, 1965, a young man mysteriously disappeared in the expanses of Antarctica. Apart from that, Carl R. Dish, a 26-year-old ionospheric physicist, was deployed at Byrd Station and engaged in tracing the Earth's upper atmosphere. On May 8th, Dish left the radio noise building to the main station complex, the supposedly routine walk of just over a mile. However, he has yet to arrive. A search party quickly found his tracks, and extreme Antarctic conditions made them return for fuel. When they returned for the search, white snow drifted across Dish, but there were no traces. Despite all efforts, including flares and more floodlights, the cold weather, which dropped to -42 degrees Celsius, hindered the search. Unfortunately, it was canceled on May 14th, and Dish was presumed to be dead. His disappearance remains unsolved, a haunting mystery in the icy heart of Antarctica. Thank you for watching this. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below, and remember to like, share, and subscribe for more videos like this. See you in the next video.